All right, so let me see here. Let me pull the card real quick. In terms of stats, 3.7 KDA for Pure. Creeps per minute is 0.86. GPM is 217. Obviously, Pure being a support, not really too big on the stats there. But then we go over to the side of Pilot. 5 KDA, 8.5 CS per minute, GPM of 400 plus, so looking pretty good there. We missed the bans, but Cassiopeia is picked up for Pilot, and Ezreal's picked up for Pure.
All right, so yeah, just hopping straight in to our first game of the finals here. For the Solo King, it's going to be an Ezreal. First Ezreal that I've actually seen. Is it the first? I want to say this is the first Ezreal that I've actually seen played. And Cassiopeia, as far as a champion, I believe this is first I want to say second Cassiopeia.
I feel like we saw one first week. I'm not sure.
I do recall it actually losing its matchup first week, so at least in the matchup here versus Ezreal, we've seen AD carries time and time again prove to be victorious. Maybe it's Lucian, going for the all-in, getting the kills like we saw Pilot do in game number 1, but Pilot actually switching gears completely over to an AP champion after he's had so much success on AD champions, but granted, there was a nice ban on his Lucian though, so that might have, prompted him to pick slightly differently.
All right, so we'll see how he plays the AP this time around. Cassiopeia versus Ezreal. Ezreal has some ways to kind of juke away a little bit from the poisons, the miasma and such with the shift. In terms of raw poke though, the Cassiopeia should be okay. This is the newer Cassiopeia as well too, so spamming out those Twin Fangs is pretty deadly, but it costs a lot of mana.
Yeah, new Cassiopeia here, of course, on patch 5.2, the live patch. It's been changed up enough to where it does cost a lot of mana. We'll see how that works out. Let's get into game. Alright, of course, welcome to game number 1 of our best of 3 finals for the first half of Group A2. My name is Rapid, with me is Egad, and this is Pilot versus Pure. Of course, Pilot advancing here to the finals after victory over Goong, and Pure advancing with a victory over Raim. Ezreal versus Cassiopeia. How is this going to work out? It's Doran's Ring versus Doran's Blade. Didn't actually get a chance to check out the masteries at all, but you can assume things are actually fairly standard.
True. I'm thinking should be regular page for Pure, honestly. Just damage,
possibly,
armor, magic resist.
Yeah, possibly taking the points from masteries out of defenses and putting 3 additional points into mana regen.
I think that's more true for Pilot. I don't think that's more true for Pure.
Oh yeah, definitely for Pilot. Pure, Pure, we haven't actually seen him play Ezreal. I haven't seen anybody play Ezreal to be fair here. So is he just gonna go for the blue Ezreal build, or probably just Doran's Blades? Would expect to see. Although that's actually something to
There's
talk
no
about.
room for blue Ezreal build. 100%.
Well,
There's no room.
I meant more for like the style. Like, do you pick up cooldown reduction in your masteries?
Nah,
Just
just raw
go for the
damage.
straight AD.
Okay.
It's actually been attack speed that's, I guess, defined a lot of this. Can you actually just straight up kill the creeps quickly enough? So while the late game damage for Cassiopeia is kind of unrivaled, the early game enough to be able to make her enough of a lane bully, pull out ahead in the siesta part.
I think they're gonna avoid each other for the early part of this, and then just really try to poke out. Pure's gonna sit so far back here, avoiding the poison as much as possible, while trying to find some pot shots to the Mystic Shot, because at this point, the poison damage ticks fairly well, considering that he's got 38 AP.
But an early level 2 here for Pilot means that at least for a couple of creeps here, he will have the level advantage and be able to put on a lot of extra pressure here. Now, Ezreal able to CS at long range, and of course, only 1 creep behind at that point. Wasn't really set all that far behind from that. Whereas in the previous series, Goong versus Pilot, we've got a chance to see just how devastating an advantage you can have there. I think it was Pilot that actually used his Lucian at level 2 versus 1 to get a big advantage for himself. This time around, did get level 2 first, but wasn't able to make all that much happen.
Nope. I mean, Cassiopeia just running at you isn't really the scariest thing. You're just like, oh, you didn't hit your poison on me. All right, Twin Fangs, whatever. Just
Yeah, you take like
spray
3
your mana.
Twin Fangs, and then she's out of mana. So.
Yep.
Big difference, though, comes in the Summoner spell category. It's Flash Ignite again here for Pure, but Pilot definitely learned his lesson from Game 1 versus Goong. He actually lost that almost solely just because he didn't take Teleport. So he'll have Teleport and Flash, so he'll be able to Flash ult here, and that'll be the real big like skill / outplay that I really want to look for is, at level 6, does he get the Flash ult stun or not?
It's gonna be tough. Because Ezreal could just shift and turn around, like it's just the ultimate counter. But like you said, you could chase him down. It's a big burst damage. That's the thing you got to really watch out for, is that bit of a spike there. But Pilot with some good control of the lane, he's just pushing it to his own accord and making sure that he's stopping Pure from at least guaranteeing himself every last hit. So good control at least.
Yeah, but overall, just the amount of pressure that you can put on. Dodging out all the poison there. Nice trade for Pure, but at the same time, the CS actually definitely in Pilot's favor. He's been doing more CSing, more harassing, and of course, you'll watch him poison the wave and then use his Twin Fangs on it. That actually gives you back not only the entire cost of Twin Fangs, but it also refunds you, I think, 3% of your mana back as well. So it's a good way to get mana back and stay in lane, even with the higher cost of using Twin Fangs. Oh, but actually, look at this aggressive positioning. There's Ignite being put down. Is Pilot going to be able to flash backwards? There's the Arcane Shift. One more auto attack. He's going to flash underneath the turret. Pure. No teleport for him, but enough aggression there. Just dodges out enough of the poison. And watch this aggressive positioning. He'll make sure that he has great positioning around Pilot. It's already used his Qs, so needs the Miasma to be able to put it down. And even with Twin Fangs, he's lost too much HP. There's the Arcane Shift covering the distance there. The flash under turret, last auto attack to secure the kill for Pure.
That was just a big blunder by Pilot, honestly. Pure capitalizing on his mispositioning so well. Jeez, I don't know what Pilot was thinking there. He had expended his mana from the Twin Fangs and was just like, oh crap, and he couldn't do anything. Once he got ignited, it was pretty much done.
Yeah, too low on mana, and of course those big nerfs to the cost of Twin Fangs, not allowing all that much retaliation, and that will be game number 1 going over to Pure. And this is one of the first times we've seen a support player natively, go I guess this far. We had Someday versus Nagne work out in Someday's favor yesterday. And it was Marin who took the win over Hachani. So Hachani did make it to the finals here, similar to Pure, but was unfortunately taken out by Marin. So this is not a support versus top lane matchup like that was, support versus AD carry, but Pure's taking game 1 over Pilot. And Pilot may, say, hey, I've, taken some time to try things out with Cassiopeia and, make a return to his AD carry roots, which has been working very, very well for him so far. But with what you can only expect to be a Lucian ban, be interesting to see what happens here in game number 2. Picks and bans. We're actually going to see the bans here. Lucian, Caitlyn, no surprise there.
Karma as well. So, what else? Pure being a support player surprised me a little bit, being able to play the Ezreal that well. And normally a lot of support players do come from a background of playing other roles.
Yeah, you play with an AD carry so much that it's not necessarily interchangeable, but you kind of understand how things work.
Yep. Executing it well too is a whole other thing, but that's another time for that story. Nunu gets banned away, so a lot of the quote-unquote OPs in the 1 versus 1 matchup are finally being understood by a lot of these players.
Now, yeah, with Nunu out, still have to watch out for things like Annie. We saw Cassiopeia and Azir both banned very heavily yesterday, but seen some weaknesses with both of them losing their matchups here today. Possibility of a Rek'Sai pick. I don't know about that. We've seen traditionally ranged champions have pretty overwhelming advantage, but the Rek'Sai lock in. We'll see what Pilot's answer is.
I'm still not all familiar with the abilities. I know she can tunnel. I know that she can AoE pretty well, and she has different abilities, but she's burrowed too, I believe. So
yeah, it's a little bit like the transforming champions, even though you don't transform per se. Passive is Fury of the Rek'Sai, so when you burrow, you actually get health back based on how much you've auto attacked while you're above ground. Of course, the ability of Rek'Sai primarily comes from the ability to close the gap with burrow. Of course, you have a lot more move speed while you're burrowed. So you burrow to get the extra move speed. Use your tunnel ability while you're burrowed to get up close and personal with your enemy, with your opponent. And then when you unburrow, you knock everything up. You can close the gap. You get a lot of CC, a lot of damage off of her Q. Queen's Wrath is both an auto attack reset, and of course it gives you 3 different spells. A little bit like Broken Wings for Ribbon, if you want to look at it that way. But for Pilot, he has indeed gone back to his 80 carry roots and picked up Sivir, so he'll be able to spell shield the knockup. But still, the ability of Rek'Sai to gap close should still be a very scary thing to watch out for.
All right, and we do have the Sivir locked in for Pilot, so this is going to be looking like a much better matchup for him. I don't expect too much Rash to be connecting here, and him just abusing the fact that, you know, he's a medium-ranged 80 carry, and Sivir can also deal with a lot of the poke too. So the runes for Pure, what the hell is he running? He's got some CDR. The percentages of 1.5 are more CDR?
Yeah, he's definitely running. I think that 0.99 might actually be magic resistance, or be mana regen as well. But yeah, he had a bunch of different runes there, and fortunately I can't tell exactly what's going on in the rune department. Masteries are a little bit better, a little bit easier to discern. Here are Pilot's runes. So for 80 carry this time around, he does have that 1 attack speed quintessence with 2 damage quintessences. You see still the 9 points in armor off of seals, and as far as masteries are concerned, shouldn't be anything too crazy here. No mana regen, just because he does have a spell shield to get mana back with, and putting points into... Wait, what? Why does he have a point in extra attack speed when you land a critical strike? Because he doesn't actually have any critical strike chance.
Maybe he's going for the
Unless that was
Avarice
the
Blade
1%.
first.
No, you can... Get out of here with your terrible ideas, Egad. There'll be no Avarice Blades in my games.
It's extra money, man. Extra bit of gold, you know. Some crit chance. Goes Yoma's Ghostblade first item, man.
Probably the least cost-effective item that you could buy for 800 gold. Oh my god. And then your opponent spends his 800 gold on a Vampiric Scepter and you just lose the game. You're just like, why didn't I buy the Vampiric Scepter? You get 8% crit chance and you attack like, I don't know, 20 times, you crit once, and you're like, wow, what a great item I just bought.
All right, so let's see. We'll be getting into this game very soon. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what could go horrifically wrong for the Rek'Sai would actually win. But that'd just probably be Pilot overstepping his bounds.
Yeah, if you do, well, I mean, to be fair, we did see Pilot do that in game number 1. He was way too far away from his turret, ran out of health, mana, and mobility, and even with the flash, was not able to get back there in time. So, game number 2, he should have learned from his positional error there in game 1. But honestly, for me, it's just gonna be kind of the I don't know, the question, can Pure close the gap, or is Pilot's 80 carry prowess going to kind of come back and help him pick up the game to win? A situation that he's found himself in before, losing game 1 and then coming back 2 games in a row. We'll see if he can do it not once but twice, giving us both of our 2-1 comebacks.
Let's see what else. We have Watch versus Arrow as well in the next bracket. Lil Bunny versus Trace, some really good matches to come there. So, still plenty more 1 versus 1 League of Legends action to come to you guys. What else? The Extra Life charity as well, to donate there if you want to support them just a little bit.
This is where you ask me if I remember the charity that Extra Life is donating to, but we'll go ahead and talk about that once we get into game.
Cool. So we're back in it. It's going to be Pure versus Pilot. Pure 1 game up. This time we have a Rek'Sai, who we not seen at all, as it's been banned out a few times. And then we're going to have Pilot taking on the Sivir, so sticking to his 80 carry guts. I'm Egad, joining me here is Rapid, and all right, let's see if the comeback can happen a second time for Pilot.
Now, I did say I was going to finish the shout out to our Extra Life charity, and if you guys would like to help support Extra Life, which in turn lends its support to Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Of course, you can find a link to do that right down below the screen. I think there's also a sidebar at one point, depending on exactly how you're watching us here on Azubu TV. Of course, sponsoring this tournament, of course, making this Korean 1v1 Solo King tournament possible. So, do hope you guys enjoy the broadcast for game number 2. Of course, Pure one game up, maybe taking a game to experiment with things. Rek'Sai, certainly the newest champion, but in a melee versus ranged matchup, see how effective this is going to be. Keep in mind, no flash for Pilot, and that could be a big mistake if he gets gap closed on. Running Teleport Ignite, we'll see if he can put that early aggression to use, even without having flash.
Another big thing here is that the Rek'Sai tunnels can get stomped on pretty easily. So
Does that
he won't.
count as CS?
I do not believe so. It doesn't get
no
gold.
way tunnels count as CS.
It's just you destroying it. It's not really like gonna count.
Well, you
I
do
believe.
get gold for it.
You do? Oh, then it might. I don't know. I've never seen it before.
Oh my god, if Rek'Sai tunnels count as CS, that could actually be really huge. But we're just to see Pilot start with Ricochet. He'll get an early clear through the first wave, and sometimes Ricochet actually makes the minions a little bit more difficult to last it. But keep an eye on him, see how the CS goes. But
I mean, it's more so for the auto reset and just guaranteeing damage onto Rek'Sai. So we'll see.
Yeah, if you stand too close to the minion wave, even though Ricochet damage may not look like a lot, it's still taking damage for free, which is never a situation you want to be in.
Nope, and this is the horrendous matchup that.
Oh my god, yeah, how is he even going to... Just look at that. I mean, at this point, Pilot doesn't even have to worry about killing minions as long as he just harasses Pure down. See, the difference, and this is... I remember when I was first learning League of Legends, you face the Ashes in lane that would just volley, auto attack. It'd be so annoying, but then have 0 CS and then you just outscale them. Well, there's no outscale them here. The games last a lot shorter, so unless you're going for that 100 versus 100 CS, you are that early harass is gonna pay off.
Yep, and he's already forced. No, never mind. Not gonna force back to base. He's just gonna tunnel up and use his potions. He's got 3 left, so it's not too bad for him. But he's gonna miss quite a few creeps here.
Yeah, Cloth 5 does represent actually a lot of sustain that Pilot won't necessarily be able to have passively, but you will get a lot off of the lifesteal from Doran's Blade, of course. I want to see this burrowing mechanic used by Pure. Pure, yeah, there we go, burrowing to regenerate his health. I feel like he should have done that the first time around, but he's sticking in the lane. Oh no! Prey Seeker gets spell shielded there by Pilot. At this point, yeah, you're starting to realize the struggles that are coming in here. Saw the same thing in week 1, where I think we had an Olaf into a Caitlyn pickup, and that worked pretty terribly.
Hey, that game was actually pretty close. So.
Well, it wound up being closer at the end with the Olaf all in. But
yeah.
That's what we're going to be looking for here from Rek'Sai. If Pure is unable to all in and pick up a kill here, it's going to be close.
I don't know why he picked up Doran's Blade. I think Doran's Shield would be too bad here, but...
I think there's actually a current bug on the live server where Doran's Shield only blocks the auto attack damage. It doesn't give you the regen from the shield. And while that's still effective versus a carry, missing stats for free probably is never a good idea.
No. Okay, so I can go behind the Doran's Blade pick then. A little bit extra sustain, health, and the damage is actually going to be okay here, but getting close to Pilot is going to be impossible still. Until like level 6. Let's see. Okay, he tries. He does end up burrowing there. Let's see, actually. I want to see Pilot step on one of these tunnels here. Let's see if it actually gives him a
Hasn't broken it just yet, but we'll see it there. 33 CS.
34? No, it doesn't give him CS.
Okay, it does not give CS. All right. I had never thought to check, because in the grand scope of things, it doesn't actually matter all that much. Okay, nice spell shield does stop the knockup here. Ignite's gonna go down there, and Pilot, yeah, it's just gonna win this. The minion damage alone, just ticking down through the turret. That's Pilot bringing it back once again for the second time this tournament. Coming back with a win after being down, so We'll see this all in once again. Nice spell shield there. Denies the knockup. And I think it actually might have been out of range of the knockup too here. But once you go in that, even with a flashback out, you're not going to make it out alive. Pilot with the game 2 win.
Yeah, that was just a better pick in general. Rek'Sai really just not doing anything. That's I don't like the Rek'Sai pick at all there.
Yeah, Rek'Sai, similar to, I guess, champions like, Olaf versus ranged might have been a little bit closer, but any melee versus ranged matchup, you're gonna have a lot of problems, especially if you fail your all-in, you're gonna get punished pretty heavily, and, Pilot didn't even bring Flash in that matchup, and was still not necessarily ever in a really dangerous position where he needed Flash to get away from, so...
Nope.
Congratulations, Pilot, he'll bring it back in game number 2. See if he can, complete the comeback in game 3. He's already done it once, so definitely some comeback potential here.
Indeed. I'm not sure if they're gonna go to a break or anything, but let's see. I'd say that still Pure just bans away more of those AD carry picks. Lucian, Caitlyn, and maybe a third priority on like Sivir. I don't know. Just good versatility from Pilot in general to be able to play just about every AD carry.
Yeah, a lot of AD carries open, and probably all of which or at least most of which, you'll see banned here going into Game 3. But of course, we won't see any bans going into Game 3 because Game 3 is blind pick, and that means that both players will get the opportunity to pick any champion that they want. So, blind pick, super exciting to see in the last game of the finals here. First half of the finals for bracket for Group A2. We'll have 2 more best of 3s, of course, with a playoff best of 3 coming up after this match, but we gotta determine which player will advance to the Solo King playoff bracket. Will it be Pure? Able to finally overcome the beast that Pilot has been so far. Pilot losing that last game. We'll see what he goes for. I can almost promise. Yeah, there you go. No questions about it. Will it be Lucian or Caitlyn? Now, Pilot already faced his first loss of the day to a teleport Flask Caitlyn at the hands of Goong. But he's had so much success on Lucian that it's a little bit tough to pass that up.
Lucian surprisingly strong in these 1 versus 1 matchups. The extra Relentless Pursuit cooldown is not too bad. Piercing Light from a range is pretty good. And culling at level 6 as well. Clearing waves as well as providing extra harass. Even though you don't get much attack speed and don't get those extra shots, still the duration is long enough to be quite a big impact. So we do see both players locking in Lucian, so we're gonna have the mirror match.
Alright, super excited for the mirror match, not only because Pilot has been a monster on Lucian this entire tournament long, but also because now we get to see Pure. He had success on an AD carry, and we talked about how maybe support and AD carry, not necessarily interchangeable, but they've got a lot of familiarity between them, so we'll see if that is the case here. Gotta give a slight edge to Pilot in this. We've already seen his Lucian, his positioning, his experience be so strong, but now we get a chance to see whether or not the generic Green Wings support can, or the generic Green Wings AD carry rather, gonna get my teams correct here, face off against Pure, Najin's support player. Like I said, slight edge to Pilot. Do you think there's any way Pure can pull this out?
Yeah, I think so. He's definitely surprised quite a few people. The Ruins Mastery's coming through. Nothing too crazy. This is a standard page that he's been running for the most part.
So what I actually believe is that that's 1.3 mana per 5, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, the same situation with an attack speed quintessence and 2 physical damage quintessences. No oddities in the runes at all, or in the masteries for that point, with the exception of that point put into critical strike chance giving you, or to every crit giving you a stacking attack speed buff. I don't think we're going to be seeing any of those here today. That 99% of the bottom is mana regen. So, putting a little bit of that in the blues, because keep in mind, you're probably not going to be using your magic resistance at all in an AD carry versus AD carry matchup.
I don't know. I don't know.
No differences between the runes, or only one difference as far as the rune setup goes, and that is the 1 point in Warlord here for Pure, which I actually agree with, because I don't think there's much of a better place to put that point other than maybe in your first tier of Masters.
Okay, I can agree with that then. So we'll get into the game as soon as possible. Lucian versus Lucian. Doran's Blade versus Doran's Blade, or Flask versus Flask? What do you think?
I definitely think if you were going Caitlyn, maybe you want Flask, but with the aggressive Lucian play that Pilot's been bringing out, yeah, I think he's going to go for the Flash Ignite again and just go for that Doran's Blade start and see if he can make it happen there. He's been favoring just like his experience on AD carries, and what was Flash Ignite for the win in our previous series, so I don't see any reason why that's not going to happen here in the finals versus a support player who you can honestly, like, given Pilot's starting position on the roster, at least for the first few weeks of Champions this season, I wouldn't expect him to be, thinking. I wouldn't expect Pilot to be too scared at losing the 1v1.
True, he's not afraid to go aggressive, so we'll see. This is do or die time, so we'll go into it right now. Oh, you see the loading screen this time. Well, that's different.
It is. You gotta keep us on our toes here. A little bit something different every single game. As we load onto the Rift, keep in mind this is deciding game number 3. Pure versus Pilot. Which player will advance to the next round of the Solo King? Korean 1v1 tournament, of course, broadcast for you here on Azubu TV. Hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast. If you have any feedback, make sure to you can tweet it at Azubu TV. Of course, let us know what you think about the Solo King tournament so far. I think it's actually been really cool to see a lot of the players play outside of your super rigid professional champions matches, 5v5. You can see a little bit more of their personality playing champions you wouldn't necessarily expect to see them play. And of course, the 1v1s answering the question, of course, who is the Solo King?
Who is the Solo King? I know that's going to be an interesting crown to title, especially for a lot of the Korean players. Probably one of the most aggressive scenes when it comes to being on top, and this is definitely a title that a lot of players want. So I wouldn't be surprised if I actually would be surprised if a support player won it. So that's something we got to keep an eye out for. Like once Mad Life comes in, Pure making a big showing too now, looking to see if he can take down Pilot game 3.
I
Flask
actually really
versus
thought I had
Doran's
Shani last week. Could pull it out for the support players and us all, but it was a close. He lost 2-1 to I want to say Maren in week 1. But regardless,
it was to Maren.
It was a 2-0 to
Yep,
Maren.
2-0.
But yeah, for right now, Lucian versus Lucian shouldn't be all that great of a difference. Just trying to check out their masteries. 33 armor here for I believe that's Pure. Yeah, 33 armor for Pure. Should be a very similar setup for Pilot. Just see some of those tiny differentials, but actually overall a lot less AD for Pilot, as they are switching around between the two of them. 72 is starting here, so just a little bit of extra damage. You can see Pilot actually taking a lot of extra damage, but he did start with the Flask Potions build instead of going for a Doran's Blade. You can see he's actually microing forward so that these creeps are helping him as far as damage is concerned, making up the difference for not having quite as much.
The thing is, though, he doesn't have as much armor, and he just gets chunked out hard too. That extra Doran's damage really coming into effect there. But again, like you said, the sustain is really good from the Flask. He's got the extra potions as well, and I mean, Pure, if he keeps playing like this and gets the most advantageous poke that he can get, it's going to really whittle away at Pilot's regeneration. And Pure hasn't had to use his potion just yet. He's going to retreat to the river just a little bit. Pilot's going to get the positioning advantage there.
Pilot, yeah, really winning that 1v1. He got the Piercing Light proc off too while he was able to dodge Pure's Piercing Light. So, big difference.
Very big difference. Geez. So, Pilot's got the level advantage as well. And with this, the way he's manipulating the cannon wave too, he denied a creep away from Pure.
And that's 40 gold, which is actually a really big deal. You see both Lucians going at it. Flash teleport for them both, so no ignites here. No super aggressive summoner spells, but keep an eye on those flashes, see if they are used aggressively or defensively. Of course, I think if you use your flash defensively, you probably already lost the matchup.
Yeah, if you're flashing away from somebody, you are in a very bad spot. And look at that, just so aggressive. Pilot just doesn't care. He's just like, oh, you got Doran's Blade damage? Whatever, man, I got a flask. Yeah, I will out-sustain you 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, exactly. If he doesn't, as long as he doesn't, take a turret shot,
even one turret shot's fine. Even one turret shot's fine.
Well, and the bigger difference, of course, being the mana difference. You can see Flask giving Pilot all the mana he needs to continue that push, and even with teleport, Pure is just going to be able to pick up, a mana potion when he comes back to lane, whereas when Pilot goes back, he's going to have all those mana potions sort of refunded for free in the form of his Chalice, or Crystalline Flask.
Okay, so double Dorans now. Both players going back. TP expended for Pure though, so Pilot, if he really wanted to, could walk to this lane, but chooses to take the express route and the teleport. So they'll be relatively the same cooldown. So he should have a general idea of that. And instead of going for the extra Dorans, he went for the longsword.
Is he gonna try to farm up a Brutalizer?
Possibly.
That would actually take a lot of extra gold, and I feel like just Doran's Blades into Pickaxe has been the kind of the build of choice if you want to depart from just stacking up Doran's Blades.
I'd say just Vampire Acceptor, honestly, but that's just my preference.
Would actually be a better choice. It's way cheaper. You lose out on about 4 damage by going for that. You get 7 AD from your Doran's Blades, and of course you get 10 from a longsword, so slightly more. Pilot hiding in the brush there for a second there. He's gonna lose this trade, at least I believe he will. Double Doran's really working out there, and you can see, whoa, Pure forcing that flash out. Pilot, the flash back in, it's Pure in the 1v1, taking out Pilot. Like you said, when you flash defensively, you're gonna lose. Now Pilot getting forced backwards. Now there's not even a level discrepancy, just that Doran's versus Doran's. No health on that the longsword. Pilot losing out. I think he stuttered one auto attack here.
He tried to flash the piercing light, but didn't. He mistimed that.
Yeah, if he had flashed that piercing light, he actually probably would have won the 1v1.
100%, because the creeps were beating it onto Pure as well.
Wow, so just the split second there from Pilot, not able to flash that piercing light, and that'll mean that your solo king for the first half of Group A2 will be Najin